just some geological things that I want to point out. Number one, right behind us, you can sort of see a dug-away road that comes down that cliff. It's in ruin right now, but it's directly over the water cooler from where I'm looking. And you just sort of see sort of a little bit of a ledge in the wall there. That serviced an oil well, which is right here on this bench. It was drilled in 1920. So this river in the 1920s was really a center for a lot of oil exploration. And the people that dug this well, named Schaefer, and if any of you have been on the Schaefer Trail, same Schaefer, except there's brothers, two of them. At any rate, you can just see sort of a little bit of a building right there, just the ridge line back from the tamarisks a bit. That was a dining hall. And I brought some people home one day from a jet boat trip quite a few years ago whose mother cooked here when they were actually drilling for this. They drilled and they hit oil. And what made them drill here? Notice the rock, how it bows up, curves up, and then goes right back down right over there. Now, what's under here that makes that bow up was of great interest to the geologists. And so just like if the Earth's crust is a tablecloth and you put an orange under it, it would sort of bow up. But this wasn't an orange, they thought this was oil. So they dug right down here, and I'll be darned if they didn't hit oil, and it actually came gushing out of the ground. But it also caught on fire at the same time. And it burned for quite some time, and when I say quite some time, you know, into the months. They called for an oil fire fighting crew to come, that came all the way up from Texas to put it out, but in the Moab newspaper, the Times Independent, this is about Christmas time, it says, what a beautiful Christmas gift if you want to come down to Cane Creek Anticline, the name of this place. Mother Nature has given us a great plume of fire coming out of the ground. Now, I don't think it'd be reported quite that way today, as barrels of oil are going into the river, black smoke is going up, you know, and it'd be a pollution a disaster. But at any rate, the fire was finally put out, and no more oil came out. In the 1940s, after World War II, they came back down and hit 16 more holes, not to get much of any oil, just a little trace. But we had an accountant when I first came to tag along 30 years ago that worked on this oil well rig when he was a teenager. He says he knew when the owner was going to bring an investor down, because he came down with a barge with about 10 barrels of oil. They dumped it down the hole, and they pumped it out when the investor was here and showed him what oil they were getting. But at any rate, this is called Cane Creek Anticline, and you can see one of the old barges that used to bring supplies down to them right there against the side of the bank, and it's an old World War II landing craft, and that's been left here from that time also. What's actually under here that makes it bow up? Did you get to talk to him anything about the potash plant as you went by?
Yes. Yeah.
It's a ball of salt, and salt is really the medium that has caused most of these canyons by what it does underground, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But at any rate, so a big ball of salt bowed this up, Cane Creek Anticline, and you can just see how it folds up, comes over and folds right back down. That's a real tight anticline. It's a real neat one to look at. We're going to make geology interesting if that's possible. But that's what we have. Yellowstone has animals, we have geology.